The Seattle Seahawks won this breakup with DK Metcalf. After everything that has happened in Pittsburgh over the last couple of days, the suspension, to how well JSN has performed in that new wide receiver role number 1, Seattle has clearly come away as the victor of a breakup, and sometimes that just feels so nice. What's going on? It's Seahawks Today. I'm Will Ortner, and we're diving into the DK Metcalf suspension and how it affects the Seattle Seahawks in this video. Obviously, this coming from Adam Schefter of ESPN. DK Metcalf, he's going to get suspended for the final 2 games of the regular season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Got into it with a fan, and he did try and punch that fan. And, the NFL, they don't like that. You can't go around punching fans in the stands. Now, DK Metcalf's 2-game suspension, it's going to cost him basically a little bit over $500,000. And there's even rumors, depending on all the verbiage in his contract, that it could void some of the guarantees that he actually had in his contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not looking good for DK. And I thought this might be a little bit fun to do and maybe just a little bit different to do. Whenever we go through breakups and you come out the victor, sometimes it's nice to post the new significant other on social media. Sometimes it's nice to put the breakup body after you lost a couple pounds, put on some muscle weight there. Sometimes it's nice to post that on social media. So why don't we do that too as Seahawk fans? Share this video on social media so that all the Steelers fans know and those Yinzers know that the Seahawks won the breakup with DK Metcalf. All right. So here was the original trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, Seahawks trading that second-round pick for DK Metcalf. And then there was a little bit of some pick swapping in there between the Seahawks and, of course, the Steelers. What I do think is important, though, to really note is that this was really a second-round pick for DK Metcalf. And it came as a surprise that the Seahawks wanted to move on from DK. They were taking a big risk. Whether you agree with me or not, DK Metcalf is a good wide receiver in the National Football League. And frankly, he was kind of your wide receiver 1 for a decent chunk of his career after that Tyler Lockett got a little bit older. Whenever a team moves on from their wide receiver 1, hoping that their wide receiver 2 can become a wide receiver 1, it can be scary for teams, especially for a player that put up the type of production that DK Metcalf did. Basically, every year that he was in Seattle, he was pretty darn close to that 1,000-yard mark. And despite missing multiple games last year, DK, well, he had a pretty darn good season. He's 8 yards away from 1,000. Now, the targets to total receptions is not nearly as high as you would like it to be. But I think it's very important to note and to mention DK Metcalf was a damn good receiver in the 2024 season. I didn't want Seattle to move on from him. Now, there are some DK haters that view some of the off-the-field antics, or I guess I should say after the whistle antics. He doesn't have off-the-field issues. But on the field, he's been known to get into some trouble. He's been known to block too long after the whistle. He's been known to have fumble issues, some drop issues. That made him expendable, I guess you should say. And there are some Seahawks fans that did want him gone. I didn't. And I don't think that I am alone in not wanting DK Metcalf gone. I was freaking nervous. Was JSN going to be able to step up into that role? And were we sure that DK wasn't going to end up being a star, true star wide receiver 1 in the National Football League? So now I want to ask you, and you have to be honest, put yourself back in your shoes when this trade originally went down. Were you nervous when Seattle traded Metcalf away? Yes or no down below in the comments. I certainly was. When you trade your starting quarterback and your wide receiver 1 away, that doesn't usually turn out to be a very good year for the team. So I was nervous. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Now, many experts doubted Jaxon Smith-Njigba and his ability to become the number 1 wide receiver. And we're going to dive into why they doubted him, which I do think it was a little bit fair but misguided at the time. And then we're going to compare JSN as our wide receiver 1 and DK Metcalf as the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver 1, and why Seattle did pretty darn good winning that breakup. But first, we got to talk to you about our good friends over at PrizePicks. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. It is the holiday season, the best time of year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It is all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right. PrizePicks. Everyone's favorite PrizePicks holiday promotion is back. 7 days of Picksmas. PrizePicks is giving out 7 days of deals all the way through Christmas Day, including a Christmas Day max discount. Picksmas starts December 20th, so download the app today and unwrap those deals. I have a 2-pick power play for this weekend's action. Bryce Young, less on his pass yards. Sam Darnold, more on his pass yards too. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. So here is last year's stats for JSN, and he ended up tying at the time, if I remember correctly, the receptions record for a Seahawks wide receiver. He obviously didn't break the yardage record. That was still DK's record at the time. And he had a pretty darn good year in 2 games where he had to be that wide receiver 1 when DK was out, when DK was hurt. But it was pretty clear that if you look at the stats, if DK stays healthy all the way through, their numbers are basically going to be the same. So it was almost more of a 1A, 1B type of a deal. But DK definitely drew a lot of the eyes to the point where there were experts that legitimately thought that JSN was not ready to be a wide receiver 1. He's a little bit shorter. He's built on his superior route running. He is known for his ability to get open in the slot, where DK is more of your traditional wide receiver. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. He can be a red zone target. He can burn people deep. And so there was kind of a thought that without DK there to kind of protect JSN wouldn't end up being one of the top wide receivers that he needed to be. And when we take this closer look, it's pretty darn clear that JSN is doing just fine in DK's absence. He just broke his own receptions record for the Seattle Seahawks, so he's a franchise leader in that. He also broke DK's old record when it comes to yards in a season. DK's yards per game have gone down, while JSN's have almost doubled, and he's the number 1 wide receiver when it comes to receiving yards this football season. What's most important is that touchdown number. People thought that JSN weren't going to be able to get into the end zone and score. Not only is he able to do that, he's doing it at a better rate than DK Metcalf has been. And what's most important about JSN is not just the production on the field. You know what I don't have to hear? I don't have to hear trade rumors every single offseason. I don't have to complain to my TV and to anyone else who will unfortunately have to listen to me about JSN getting fumble issues or having fumble issues or blocking too long after the whistle, drawing penalties. There's no 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalties that come from JSN. So you're telling me that I'm getting more production while at the same time I'm dealing with less of the headaches? That definitely sounds like an upgrade to me. And I understand that this is going to sound like I hate DK Metcalf. That couldn't be further from the truth. I think he's a very good wide receiver. I like that he plays with passion. But I still think that Seattle pretty clearly won this trade. The Seahawks found a way to, despite moving on from wide receiver number 1, to turn wide receiver number 2 into not only wide receiver 1 for your team, but the wide receiver number 1 in the entire National Football League. Seattle, for whatever reason this year, took 2 starters, 2 guys that were potentially franchise pillars, moved on from them, DK Metcalf and Geno Smith, and upgraded in one position where JSN was already in-house and is now being the best player in that wide receiver in the NFL this season, but then brought in Sam Darnold, and he was clearly the top dog and a better upgrade there at quarterback. Just look at him and Geno's stats. So this leads me then to this question. Is there a better GM than John Schneider? And if there is one, you better name who. I already know while I'm looking right now, producer Reed off to the side is saying Howie. I don't know, man. I don't know. When have you seen a general manager like John Schneider move on from the franchise quarterback and the franchise wide receiver and upgrade? It doesn't happen very often. So let me know if there's a GM in the National Football League that's better than John Schneider. Who is it? Let me know down below in the comment section. And like I said, whenever we win a breakup, we like to make sure that we post on Instagram and on Twitter, letting everybody know just how good that glow up was. So help us out. Share the video wherever you have social media. And of course, subscribe to Seahawks Today. We got Seahawks videos coming out every single day for you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next time.